Let me know if you can hear me okay when I... Good afternoon, this is Patrick Carden, and welcome to this week's edition of Baseball Pure Perspective, the first week of the Major League Baseball season. And this show and our station is sponsored by eCredit Success. The Vets on Media has partnered with eCredit Success to offer a free credit consultation and discounts for all veterans and military personnel. So just go to www.vetsonradio.com. You can click on that or eCredit Success logo and get your free consultation today. It's been a great first week of the baseball season. Obviously, there's only 4 games have passed because they started on Monday. Got a lot of stuff to cover in this short hour. Personally, I was actually in New York City for opening day this year, and it's quite different than any other place in the world, I must say, unless you're a Northeasterner from Boston or Chicago, St. Louis, true baseball towns. West Coast, we have baseball too, but a little bit different. And my wife pointed out something while we were sitting at Citi Field on Monday for opening day, which was different. It was the atmosphere that was different. Now, we've been attending games here in Arizona at Diamondbacks Chase Field, and they have a roof, of course, and they need it because of the heat. And it's quite different being in the open air, New York atmosphere with the fans, and it was spectacular. The New York Mets played the San Diego Padres opening day on April 1st, and they actually have the best record of all time for opening days at home in Major League history. The best winning percentage. Right now, they've won 34 out of their last 44 home games, which is quite extraordinary considering if that was a prelude to what the season would be, it would be quite a dynasty, but of course that hasn't happened. Diamondbacks, you go to a ball game out here, you sit under the roof. Even if the roof is open, the air is it's just different. It's a distant atmosphere. My wife noticed it right away. She was sitting in the ballpark and said, "This is really good. Not what I've expected. I've seen it on TV, but the atmosphere, the people yelling and screaming, walking around, the smell of the New York food, just a very, very different atmosphere. True baseball. At one time, it was the capital of baseball with 3 baseball teams when the Giants and Dodgers were there. The Yankees, on the other hand, got off to the same start. What was interesting about baseball this year in New York was for the first time in history, and this is the Mets' 52nd season that they're starting, the Mets and the Yankees have never opened at home on the same day at the exact same time. Usually one's home and one's on the road, and the Mets and the Yankees started at the exact same time, the exact same day. It was quite unusual. But it was kind of interesting. You go out to the subway platform, the train platforms, people on their way to the ballpark on opening day. It was just flooded with people wearing Mets shirts, jerseys, jackets, hats, as well as Yankees going out to the Yankees-Red Sox game, which is still the biggest rivalry in sports history. The Yankees and Red Sox have been going at it for 100 years, and it's still strong as ever. The Yankees and Dodgers had a dynasty going, and when the Dodgers were in Brooklyn. But now the Giants and Dodgers still carrying on their legacy. Actually, their rivalry was bigger when it was in New York, but it's still a rivalry, but nothing quite like the Red Sox and the Yankees. And CC Sabathia didn't get off to the greatest of starts on opening day. The Red Sox hit him up hard for 4 runs early, and he just didn't have it that day. The weather was actually cold. It was a frigid day as the sun started going down, so it's been cold all week there. So it's tough to grip a baseball. Some people did really well. CC Sabathia, usually he come mid-season, he'll get back in mid-form. Yankees have been struggling. They're 1-3 to start off the season. Just as I said, they still have the biggest injury line going since the season started. The 9 guys still on the DL. Derek Jeter was not present for opening day, and the New York media, the papers and the radio stations really got on him hard for not showing up at the opening day introductions. Obviously, Alex Rodriguez wasn't there, Curtis Granderson, Mark Teixeira, but Jeter's the captain of the team, and they wanted to see him, so the fans were quite disappointed, and the media let us know about that he wasn't there. He's in rehab in Florida right now, expected possibly early May. Not confirmed, but his left ankle is still not well, so he's trying to rehab that and get back to the team. So hopefully he will be healthy. Hiroki Kuroda, the second game of the season, got a bruised middle right finger, and he didn't even get to finish 2 innings in that game. So hopefully he'll be just missed a start here and then get right back on the track. Alex Rodriguez, he's still bragging in the newspapers all over again that he's going to make it back midseason and give the Yankees what they paid for. But again, that's Alex Rodriguez talking with that second hip industry. There is no guarantee when he will be back. Mark Teixeira, on the other hand, was projected early August, but he's insistent that he's going to be back in May. He's working hard. He wants to get back with the team. But again, that's a projected early May. So hopefully he'll come back soon and help the team because they're in bad need of help. People like Brett Gardner have gotten off to a fast start. But again, he's missing a few because he's trying to get ahead and do too much. He's trying to cover all the people that are missing. And of course, you can't hit 5 home runs in a game, in an inning. And he's trying to do more than he's capable of doing. So hopefully he'll calm down and just stay within his means and wait for these other guys to come back. Start of the season, both the Red Sox and Baltimore got off to a 3-1 start. Tampa Bay 2-2. Yankees, like I said, were 1-3 along with Toronto. The big prospect R.A. Dickey, who was a big splash in Toronto with the magnified trade with the Mets, who got 2 great prospects. Got bombed on his first game. He got hit for 4 runs early and then lost his first game in Toronto. So it's early. It's really hard to project the season in the first week, but it's exciting because all the teams are in full swing. The Texas Rangers are 3-1, Minnesota 2-2. Actually, everybody in the Central at the close of business yesterday, the Central Division of the American League, were 2-2. And Washington Nationals, they again showed pitching dominant. Miami barely escaped Washington with scoring only 1 run in the 3 games. The first 2 games they were shut out. And what's ironic about the first game, Washington Strasburg got the win. They had 2 runs, and they were both on solo home runs by Bryce Harper, the new young stud from Washington, who's got a lot of promise. And both of his solo home runs were enough for Washington to win the first game against Miami. And what's funny about the second game, Gio Gonzalez was pitching a shutout, and he had a solo home run. So he had the lone run for a long time in that game, and the pitcher Gio Gonzalez for the Washington Nationals. Atlanta again off to a fast start. And what's interesting about the Atlanta Braves is they have the Upton brothers this year, B.J. Upton and Justin Upton. Justin Upton is off to a fast start, 375 on-base percentage and 3 home runs. What's ironic, his brother B.J. is still looking for his first hit. So I'm sure he's biting at the bit to catch up with his brother there and make a little family competition to help that team. Cincinnati Reds, right back where they started the first week of the season, 3-1. Cubs are hanging in there, 2-2. They've had a couple of good games. Giants and Dodgers start off strong. There are both started the season strong. Giants are 3-1 in first place. Colorado, Arizona, all 3-1. San Diego 1-3. So we got a full slate of baseball this weekend and every day throughout the rest of the year. It's a 162 game season. Everybody's on board with their fantasy lineups. But I got to tell you an interesting story when we went over the ballpark. My wife and I actually got engaged there at Shea Stadium home plate a couple of years ago. We took our traditional annual picture there. And the newspaper guy actually approached us and put us in the paper as well. Wanted to hear the story about our engagement and the fact that we take the picture there every year. That was kind of neat, the local Queens paper taking our picture for the local paper. And we were sitting in the game. I'll just tell you, like every other exit area in each section of the ballpark, they have food that's just phenomenal. They had sweet sausage stands all over the place. You get mild, sweet. You can put whatever you want on it, peppers, onions. And it's nothing like the New York food with those Italian sausages on right off the grill, cooking the way you want it. The hot dogs from Nathan's, just fabulous all around. We were getting back on the train after the game, and it's funny, you see all the jerseys that people wear today, and a lot of the old players that'll come and say, "Hey, we never had that when we were kids," and we didn't. You get on this platform, and then there's just everybody like you wearing something for your team, and it was just quite a sight to see. But on the other side of the town, you take the train where we were from Queens. You have to take it into Manhattan and go over to Grand Central Station. And there's the number 4 train that goes over to Yankee Stadium. So you'll see when at the rare occasion that both teams were home on the same day, you'll see the rare occasion both Yankee and Met fans going to their own games. And when we got back on the train after the game, there was a guy in a Red Sox uniform. And they had just beaten the Yankees, and he had his Red Sox hat on, his Red Sox jersey. And I went up to him and said, "Hey, I guess you had a good day today. You went over to Yankee Stadium, the Red Sox won, and I'm sure you enjoyed the games. I'm sure you're just coming back from there." He goes, "What are you talking about?" "Well, you have Red Sox jersey on. The Red Sox are in town, and you're on the train right after the game. I'm just assuming that's where you're coming from." He says, "Why would I do that? I went to the Mets game." Here's a Red Sox fan, opening day in New York, and he's telling me he went to the Mets game, and I asked him why. He says because Yankee Stadium was too far. And that kind of just blew my mind. I kind of got a laugh out of that. But I thought that was just a funny story that he didn't want to go out to a Red Sox-Yankee game because Citi Field was much closer, and he preferred to go to that baseball game. So you just never know. There's quite a mix of fans, and you never know who they're rooting for, how diehard they are, or who they're going to be pulling for, what's convenient for them. Now, upcoming next week is the movie 42, which is about Jackie Robinson. I am actually going to go preview that movie on Friday, and that's what we're going to talk about next Saturday. Saturday the 13th, next Saturday at 1 o'clock, Arizona time, 4 o'clock Eastern. I'm going to preview the movie and get a little in-depth about Jackie Robinson, the history of Jackie Robinson, and a little bit about the Negro Leagues and what was behind that. It's a shame that it took till 1947 for the baseball to be integrated, but there's a lot of history that I'm going to cover and why they chose Jackie Robinson, and I'll tell you how accurate the movie was, what if they left out anything, some of the things that they added in. I don't care how accurate a movie is, they will always add dramatic license for the sake of movie interest. But Harrison Ford will be playing Branch Rickey, who was one of the Dodger key people for bringing in Jackie Robinson. So we'll look forward to that next week, and we'll get more into baseball right after this.
Improve your credit
Signing
score.
up is easy.
You need
and they
goal-oriented
offer a no-
Four, 7, 3. Credit score? Do you need goal-oriented professional strategy to improve your credit that fits your busy lifestyle? Then eCreditSuccess.com is your site. They teach you the skills to help improve your credit while offering trade line acquisitions, error correction, 24/7 online tracking, discounts for military, and free consultation for being listener of VetsOnMedia.com. Signing up is easy, and they offer a no-risk refund policy in most programs based on a specific score increase determined prior to your enrollment. So call now and get started at 855-234-7334 or visit us online at VetsOnMedia.com and click on the eCredit Success logo on our homepage. Hey everybody, it's Adam from Vets On with Adam and James. Are you looking to support our troops any way that you can? Then check out veteran-owned OnPointUSA.biz. Proudly celebrate our soldiers with military and patriotic apparel. Also find war stories, articles, current events, and giveaways. And with every purchase that you buy, feel good knowing that the portion of the proceeds goes to the Special Operations Foundation. At OnPointUSA.biz, they believe in God-given right to live free and pursuit of happiness by virtue of the sacrifice of the American soldier. Founded on honor, integrity, love, selfless service, they live these values and guarantee that their products and services reflect these values and this code. Founded by two guys from the Ranger Bat, they have served, fought, and therefore have a passionate understanding of the American soldier. So check out OnPointUSA.biz today and be a part of the support.
Business today is tough, and you need someone to watch your back. You need Business Battle Buddy. If you own a business, we'll help you recover your money at no upfront cost to you. We'll help you lower your costs at no upfront cost to you. We'll help you get special pricing deals at no upfront cost to you. We'll help you increase your sales at no upfront cost to you. We'll help you get the best possible deals and look out for your best interests at no upfront cost to you. Business today is tough, and you need someone to watch your back. You need a Business Battle Buddy. Take action and call Business Battle Buddy today at 602-539-2098. Again, that's 602-539-2098.
Hey everybody, it's Adam from Vets On with Adam and James. Do you need a place to go on your next vacation? Then enjoy the Inn of Patriots Bed and Breakfast, home of the Presidential Culinary Museum. It's owned by veterans and ranked number 1 for history worldwide. Staffed by 5 chefs, including a former White House chef, and 40% off any veteran with an ID card. Why wouldn't you want to visit? So much to do. Enjoy the historic museum, gift shop, underground poker parties, authentic Revolutionary War campsites, outdoor cigar lounge, spa, famous guided tour, including being led by candlelight underground, and so much more. With friendly service, why wouldn't you want to visit? Visit now, www.theinnpatriots.com today to set up your stay.
Do you need to advertise your small business? What about make t-shirts or make your own personal stationery? Anywhere from posters, bumper stickers, brochures, envelopes, banners, to business cards and more. Hey folks, this is James from Vets On Radio. Then you're headed on the right path. Go to www.betterdealprinting.com now. They're veteran owned, and they've got the largest selection of offset and digital products in the market today. And with the promo code VET, you're going to save 10% off your purchase. They serve all 50 states with a value and quality that you strive to simplify your life, and they offer eco-friendly products and affordable pricing. Visit www.betterdealprinting.com today. And remember, they can print almost anything.
Hey everybody, this is Adam from Vets On with Adam and James. Over a decade has passed now, and America is still wounded from the horrendous attacks that struck our hearts September 11th of 2001. Right now is our time to show our dedication, honor to all of those who have served in Iraq for our country. The Iraq Freedom Monument will be dedicated to all veterans of the Iraq campaign from every branch of service, as well as thousands of Americans who have lost their lives. For more information and ways you can help, visit www.iraqwarmonumentcapecoralfl.com. And remember, never take our freedom for granted because it's not free. So help donate today.
Okay, welcome back to Baseball A Pure Perspective. JD from JD's Rockin' Sporters is back in the studio with us. And from the story I just mentioned before, I thought he missed that, so I'm just going to say it again because it's pretty funny. Having a Red Sox fan over at Citi Field when they were in town playing the New York Yankees. It was opening day, and we were leaving the ballpark, and there was a Red Sox fan. You couldn't miss it. We knew he was a Red Sox fan. He had a jersey on and a hat. And
that's how we travel.
Yeah, and that's they're just coming back from the train that was coming from Yankee Stadium. And I'm thinking, well, all right, this guy must have just came back. The Yankees had just lost to the Red Sox, so you probably enjoyed the game. You came all the way to New York. You lived in New York. You're just a Red Sox fan. Oh, I'm a Red Sox fan. Can't you tell? I said, sure. I'm sure you enjoyed the game. I says, I did. So you just come back from the stadium, right? He says, why would I do that? Well, you're a Red Sox fan. He says, I went to Citi Field to watch the Mets and the Padres. I said, why would you do that? The Red Sox-Yankees, the biggest rivalry in sports, is in town, and you weren't at the Yankee Stadium? He says, no, it was too far on the train, so I just went to Citi Field to watch the game.
Huh.
Very unusual.
Very.
And he just looked at me like I was some kind of nut, asking him why he would be at Citi Field.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It takes all types, and there's all types of people out there on opening day. One of the things about opening day that I'm going to go over 10 popular things that people think when they think about opening day. Is always promised for all 30 teams. Everybody's in first place on opening day, and that's kind of neat. There's fresh looks. You get a bit of a preview during spring training, but opening day every year comes a smattering of new uniforms around the league. And this season, only the Astros entered with a full-blown redesign. Their uniforms are completely different, actually kind of retro from the early 60s when they were the Houston Astros and the Colt 45s. It looks pretty good. They went to a handsome navy and orange look from their past, and the Pirates and White Sox are going to incorporate throwbacks more regularly this season, and the Mets, Cardinals, and Brewers have introduced alternate jerseys. The Mets, for the first time, have an actual royal blue uniform, which I particularly do not like. I always liked their traditional uniforms. It doesn't look bad. They got still orange and blue, but that all blue is they'll wear once in a while, maybe once a week or so. But I always liked going back to the traditional uniforms where they started because that's the historic part of it, and that's what you remember. Never liked the black alternate uniforms they wore, or even though they have an alternate one with the just all white without the pinstripes. So they won their first 2 games with the pinstripes. They changed their uniforms and haven't won since. Another thing, the ballparks favorites are always available again. People are looking forward to their favorite venues. The food, as I mentioned earlier, unlike it in anywhere in the northeast, is the food is just phenomenal. Typically, the food available inside ballparks is good or bad by the standards of what's available. So, but recent trends toward more local fanfares make better choices for snacking while watching the game. Like, for example, fans at AT&T and Park in San Francisco love the garlic fries. Citi Fields has the steak sandwiches, and Coors Field up in Denver, where the Rockies play, they're big on nachos and to feed their fans and their cravings. For everyone else, opening day provides an opportunity to eat hot dogs without being judged. So that's still number one, a beer and a dog. And that's what people probably eat more than anything else at the ballpark, and, of course, the peanuts. The other thing is spring training is over. So what's more agonizing than the last couple of weeks of spring training? And the only reason spring training goes as long as it does is for the starting pitchers. The hitters, usually in a couple of weeks, they're ready to go, even the relievers. But the starting pitchers, because of their rotation, they have to get their innings in. They have to be ready for those normal 5-day rests, and it takes a month or so for that to happen. So that's why spring training is really as long as it is. But it's just a tease is what it is. Professional baseball played by a sub-professional levels, because most of the times you see your A and AA people after the first few innings, after the starters get their hacks in, they'll just look at the prospects and see what they're going to have down on their farm team during the season. So that's how it kind of plays out during the last few weeks. So everybody gets anxious for that opening day. You'll see a 20-year-old wearing the high numbers, the 80s and 90s, even 100 or 00. not the low numbers that you'll see in the regular season. And at some point, you're going to stop caring who's in great shape and who needs to refine his curveball, and just start sitting around and hoping your team's best players don't get hurt before the season even starts, which happened to a couple of people to the World Baseball Classic. Now, I was not a fan of the World Baseball Classic. They can do it, that's fine, but why during spring training when you're supposed to be working out and getting familiar with your teammates and gelling with your team? I think that's very important. And that WBC can go away as far as I'm concerned. There's been injuries, and it just distracts from people who should be with their team on spring training. So those left standing have made it. So you have it. Hooray for the regular season. Now, bunting. Sacrifice bunting may be divisive among baseball fans. Most people want to see the long ball or a hit. But ceremonial bunting certainly is not. So baseball clubs roll out their most festive textiles only a handful of times every season. So the bunting decorative every stadium on opening day helps, it's a celebration. And you usually always see it during the playoffs and the World Series, but they'll be draped over the stands, and it makes for quite a scene. The pageantry. Beyond the bunting, there's also the first pitch. The local celebrity or the famous iconic player for every team will throw out the first pitch. Over at Citi Field, Rusty Staub threw out the first pitch for the Mets because it was the 40th anniversary of the 73 National League champions, and they made the point when they were in last place August 31st that year and won the division on the last day of the season and upset the Cincinnati Reds in a 5-game series, who were favored to win the World Series again that year. And that just goes to show you anything can happen in a short series, and that's why baseball is a crapshoot once it gets to the playoffs, especially when you have a 1-game playoff or a 2 out of 3, and which again is going to extend here in a couple of years to at least 2 out of 3 for that wild card round, and the first round should go back to 7 games, just like the Championship Series and the World Series. The Cubs outfielder Carl Duffy Rhodes was on pace to hit 486 home runs in a season after a 3-homer opening day outburst. And obviously, you hear those crazy numbers on opening day. Well, if he keeps this pace up, which no one ever does, it would be nice that no one ever does. He's projected to do these phenomenal numbers. Like, for example, Matt Harvey struck out 10 batters his first day. Well, he's projected with 30 starts to strike out over 300 batters. Well, this is his first full season. It's hard to do, especially when they take out starters after seven innings because of a pitch count, no matter how well he's doing. He actually was taken out after 92 pitches, 7 complete innings, and he only gave up 1 hit and struck out 10. Why take out the starter? Bullpen came up, gave up 4 runs. They still won 8-4. But that's the problem with baseball today. You got to have the starters go as long as they can. If you look back 40 years ago in the World Series, you saw started pitchers still pitching in extra innings. So, but it was a cold night. His chest was tight enough so that they had to bring him out. But we want to see starters go deeper if possible. Then there's the ridiculous pace stats, like I had mentioned. So probably not. No one's going to hit probably even 100 home runs. It's never happened. Barry Bonds did that in the steroid era with 72 one year, but
now, when you say in the steroid era, are you saying that Barry Bonds was a part of that?
There's no question. Era? No question. That's
okay.
Why he didn't even get a vote this year.
And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. Honestly, if he could, my opinion on it is, if he could have hit just as good in his entire career as he did his first few years at Pittsburgh, and he would have been in the Hall of Fame.
Same with Roger Clemens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But again, you look at all these injuries and the long list of elbow problems, pitching problems, and the ton of Tommy John surgeries. Everybody was doing something. If the people obviously were focused on the people were records were threatened, and it's changed. It's going to be, we're going to a different era, but again, there's still stuff people are using that hasn't been detected yet, and that's never going to change.
Speaking of Tommy John, real quick, John Lackey starting his first start since 2011, coming off of Tommy John. Red Sox got beat today by Toronto 5-0.
Well, again, that's just one game. That's why they play 162 games. You can't win them all. Of course, the Yankees in 1998, if you count the playoffs, they won 126 games that year, but that's a very rare feat. Seattle, regular season, and I think it was 2001, they won 116 games, didn't get past the first round.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
116 games.
That was with Ken Griffey and
yeah, quite the team, and that's a shame. And they're one of two teams never to be in the World Series. You know the other, Jeff?
What did I say? Red Sox?
No, Red Sox have been. They've actually won more World Series recently than the Yankees.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, the other team, of course, is the Washington/Montreal Expos.
Yankees again are at $230 million.
Yeah, and most of that payroll is in Florida.
Yeah,
rehabbing.
Yeah, and they're going to get fined again another $20 million for going over the cap.
Yeah,
anyway,
there's a lot of changes coming up, but had to be excited for seeing the Red Sox off to a good start, despite what the predictions are.
I'm excited anytime the Red Sox. I know it was the first series of the season, but damn it mattered. We did not want to lose the opening series to the Yankees.
Yeah, and long season. There's still 16 games with each one of those teams.
Oh yeah,
It's a long season.
Yep.
Another thing about the opening day, as I mentioned, I was mentioning 10 things. We're down to number 4. A lot of people, especially on a day game. Now, they played a night game the next day. When I was a kid, like, for example, in New York, they never played a night game in the month of April. But
really?
because the TV money and the demands have changed in the schedule, and that's where the salaries are driven, you got to do what the TV wants, not what the team wants. And that's why there's not even a break sometimes for a coast-to-coast trip into the next series. Just because that demand, and of course, a lot of the players aren't going to complain. Otherwise they would not be getting the money that they're getting today. So the day games, the school is on, and you're going to have people skipping school. A lot of kids played hooky. You see the parents out there with the kids, but it's one game. No harm done. I'm sure they'll be on top of their kids, making sure they get their schoolwork done. But there's a lot of young kids out there enjoying the opening day. It was a Monday afternoon. There's hardly anything better than throwing away or eschewing real life responsibilities to spend a day in the sun watching baseball. So it's the writer's firm opinion here that this opening day should be a national holiday, but until that happens, you should probably consider playing hooky. I think it's be far-fetched with all the other holidays that we have that opening day will ever be a national holiday, even though it's our national pastime. And one other thing about opening day, all the aces are out. Every team, their best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that'll never fail.
So we beat CC.
Yeah. And once the season gets rolling, it's not often you'll be able to flip through channels and just watch Verlander, Kershaw, Cole Hamels, Steven Strasburg, Johnny Cueto, Felix Hernandez, Matt Cain, all in the same day. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Of course, the Mets had Jonathan Neese. He's not in that category, but he did his job, and he kept pretty cool, and he did his job, and that was kind of exciting. Now, every team is undefeated. That's another great thing about
on day one, yeah.
Yeah, until that last out, every team is undefeated. So just before opening day, you inevitably hear and read plenty of predictions about what happens during the season from the experts. Mm-hmm. And we're all supposed experts, but no one ever gets it right. But that's the beauty of why they play the game. You hear it on the airwaves and the newspapers across the internet, and just sitting next to you in the bar. So guess what? Forget them all. Almost every year there's some team that comes out of nowhere, like last year's Oakland A's and Baltimore Orioles, to defy everything everyone expected to succeed. Every year you'll have that Cinderella team or somebody to have a career year that you just never dreamed that had that career year. Last year's example is R.A. Dickey for the Mets, who thought he would have won 20 games, led the league in strikeouts, and won the Cy Young Award. And that was the first time any pitcher that was a knuckleball ever won the Cy Young Award in history. That was a first. So you just never know what to expect. And will he have the same success in the American League? That still remains to be seen. So maybe this is the year your team will be hopeful, no matter where they were predicted to be.
Yeah.
But again, that comes down to who's going to stay healthy and not get suspended.
Yeah, I'm a little hurt right now because I just got an update. Gordon Eady's ESPNBoston.com. John Lackey re-injures right arm.
Why?
He walked off in the 5th inning after throwing a 2-2 curve.
Why is that happening almost every day? Every day something's happened to some pitcher. Why is it the pitching?
I don't know, but this is his first return since September 25th, 2011. And he was pitching good. He only allowed 2 runs through the 5th inning, and he said he struck out Emilio Bonifacio to open the 5th, his 8th strikeout of the game. It's pretty good for the 5th. But on a 2-2 curveball that Reyes fouled off, Lackey shook his arm off in apparent discomfort. He then tried to break off a slider with a gruesome result. Clutched his arm and went to the ground.
Well, here's my theory on this. When I was a kid, every starter finished the game if they were doing good. There was no such thing as a closer come in and finish the game. I have two theories on why the rampant injuries, especially on pitching. One, the steroids are catching up with them. They use the performance enhancing, and injuries are inevitably going to catch up with you. And even if you weren't, they're not pitching enough. They're not the strengthening because of their pitch count limitations is hurting the pitchers rather than helping them. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach of the Braves when they made their run of 16 consecutive division, he pitched them more often. And that's what Nolan Ryan's going to try to get back to with Texas. He's been doing that the last 2 years. You know, if you get stronger, you can go longer. And I don't know what this is all about, why they think this is different than... I mean, pitchers went 13, 14 innings.
Yep.
You know, without even a blink of an eye.
What I'm thinking is going to happen now for the Red Sox, and let me know your feedback on this, is Daniel Bard, who was a starter last year, they moved back to the bullpen, with Hanrahan doing what he's doing as closer, which is absolutely stellar. Bard can come back out and be a starter, fill-in starter for the rotation. Yeah,
and he very well could be. And that's one thing about today's bullpen. There's so many people relying on the bullpen. And they'll pull starters when they need them, rather than kind of dip into their minor league system. And there's only a select few that can come up because the reason being they're worried about the money and starting somebody's clock for arbitration and free agency.
Right.
So they're very cautious on how soon they're going to bring anybody up just to fill in a spot starter. So these are major league professional people. They're going to start a game. They're going to start a game. You know, even if they go only 4 or 5 innings the first time, they're going to use the rest of the bullpen to finish the game. But there's going to be a day when the complete games are going to be on the rise again. There has to be, because this is, I believe, a great contributor to why the massive injuries. Then again, the top reason getting back to opening day, they play baseball. That's the bottom line, and pretty much it's the best thing. So. And it starts basically with the first pitch. So I hope everybody enjoyed the first week, because it's been a blast and it's only going to get better. It's a long season. Everybody's going crazy with their fantasy league stats, moving their people and getting crazy. One day you can have the highest score and the next day the lowest score. So the first couple of weeks is really crazy until it bounces out after the first couple of months. So everybody's on the fantasy bandwagon, enjoying it. And it's been a heck of a first season. And like I said earlier, I wish the Diamondbacks would find a way to keep that roof open, or had kind of a better design, because many people noticed the difference between an open-air ballpark and a place that looks pretty much like a hangar. You know, and the type of fans that they're there to, the fair weather fans as opposed to diehard baseball fan. You know, and the stands were full, and that's another thing about opening day. The stands are full. Opening day with anticipation.
Right. Everybody's got hope.
Yeah, and we still got hope. And one thing about hope, with this new format of the second wild card, you can be at 500 the 1st of August, even the 1st of September, and you're not out
still
of
being running. Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There was 18 teams in the running here in mid-September last year. And so it's going to be pretty much it. And again, when I was at Citi Field, that's going to be, again, the site of this year's All-Star game in July. And they have All-Star paraphernalia all over the place. Shirts, bats, jerseys, jackets, hats, all to your liking. They have the All-Star banners and logos up all over the ballpark. So they're getting ready for a big ballpark. And this team, for a Major League team that's been around at least 50 years, this is the longest any team's gone without hosting an All-Star game. The only other time the Mets hosted an All-Star game was the year Shea Stadium opened in 1964.
Really?
Yeah, that's the year the World's Fair was there in 64, 65 in Flushing. And what's kind of weird about that, Yankee Stadium had it there 3 times since then. One because they remodeled their ballpark, and another time because it was the last year of the old Yankee Stadium. They had to have it there. Right. Which I don't understand, because last year was the 100th anniversary of Fenway Park, and they were planning to have the All-Star game there because it was the 100th anniversary. But, of course, where'd they have it? Kansas City.
Right. First off, they did an awesome job with that 100th anniversary last year. Did you watch that at all?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, where they had the players of the past coming from all parts of the ballpark, and they played the song that you have, which is the theme song from the Naturals. They played that that day for the entire opening, which was just absolutely awesome. You know, seeing Jim Rice, and they all went to their respective positions.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you know, it reminds me. A friend and I watched. I have to bring. Anybody knows Seinfeld? Obviously, he's a Mets fan. He grew up in Queens and is centered around Queens. And but it's a funny show. The
Right.
creator of that show, Larry David, has had a show on HBO for the last 10 years, and it's called Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen it,
Yep.
Jeff, but it is a funny show.
Absolutely.
The 8th season, they had the 7th season 2 years ago. They had the Seinfeld reunion, and last year wasn't one of my favorite. I thought it was the weakest season, but there was one episode which was one of the best. They actually had Bill Buckner on it,
Nice.
and we were watching it. It was classic. Bill Buckner is such a good sport. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when they welcomed him back. After the
Yeah,
second
they
one.
gave him a standing ovation.
He cried. He
Yeah.
was standing there crying. It was just an emotional scene.
He thought that he'd never be allowed back in the city again, and they gave him a standing ovation.
Yeah, and it was just absolutely a great scene. So, the good sport that he is, he did the show with Larry David, and Larry, if anybody knows the show, Jeff, Larry's manager, was a big Mets fan. He's a big Mookie Wilson fan, his favorite player. So it was his birthday, and Larry David was going to go to a baseball card show and get Mookie Wilson's autographed baseball for his manager and friend's birthday. So he goes in, he sees Mookie Wilson, and the funny thing off the show started, he makes an error at first base on a softball team, and everybody's cussing him out because he booted the first. He says, everybody call him Buckner. So he goes to the show, to the card show, and sees Bill Buckner sitting at the table. Bill Buckner, oh, I can't believe you're here. You'll never guess what just happened to me. The same thing. He says, well, life happens, man. And Bill Buckner's being pretty cool about it. Hey, can we talk about this? Are you ready to go to lunch? Yeah, sure, I'll go to lunch with you. So as soon as they go outside the hotel from the show, Bill Buckner's walking down the street, Larry David, and everybody's still cussing out Buckner. Hey, Buckner, this and that. You know, you messed up. and Larry David's just in shock looking at him and said, Bill, how can you take this? For years, is this all you hear? He says, yeah, you got to take it all in stride. Those guys are crazy. They don't know nothing. I enjoyed my career. I had a good career. You just got to blow it off. You just go it off and enjoy it. So he goes up to the apartment, and Bill Buckner is introduced to his friend Jeff. He says, wow, Bill Buckner, this is great. And guess what I have here for you? I have a Mookie Wilson autographed baseball for your birthday. Oh, man, you're the best. and he's just playing with him. He says, hey, you want to see if you can catch it? I'll throw it to you. And here Bill's standing like on the 10th floor of a balcony. He throws it to Bill Buckner. Of course, Bill Buckner misses the ball, and it goes down to the street, and somebody runs over the ball.
Oh, wow.
And then Jeff starts yelling at him and says, hey, Buckner, you can't even catch a ball. So basically, long story short, the show ends when they wind up at a fire at a high rise, and somebody's trying to throw the baby out the window. So the baby is thrown out the window to a fireman's net, and the baby bounces off. Yeah, of course, it's a doll,
right?
And bounces into the air. And Bill Buckner sees it, and he's running for blocks, trying to catch the baby. He dives and catches the baby to end the show. And everybody's cheering. They put Bill Buckner on every show. It was just classic.
Nice.
He made the catch to save the baby's life.
Nice.
And the way they just designed that, it was just absolutely fabulous. That's nothing.
Yeah.
And the sport that Bill Buckner is, you just can't say enough about his character.
I mean, he basically tried to disappear for a while. He moved up to Montana. Who moves to Montana?
Yeah.
He moved up to Montana
Polar
to get
bears.
away from everybody.
Yeah. But he's just a class act.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just amazing to see that he did that show. That they outdid himself on that. It was just absolutely fabulous. So recapping, even though the Red Sox beat the Yankees is trouble. I don't think that either one of them are going to be better off. I think the Yankees are going to have a lot of problems this year, and I don't think any of those guys are going to come back as quick as everybody said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're saying Jeter has to do basically a full spring training again.
Well, yeah, and they're talking about Teixeira and him coming back early May. That's 3 weeks away. No way.
Yeah.
There's no way that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying anything's impossible, but there's no way. Jeff, have you got any plans to go out to any games this year?
You know what? I do want to catch quite a few games this year. I don't have any selected, but last year I went to a few. This year I want to go to, my goal is to go to at least 10. I want to pick out 10 good games I want to go to probably on a Sunday afternoon. Go sit in the ballpark and just enjoy the game of baseball. I don't know if I know the Red Sox play the D-backs this year, but it's not here.
Where do they play? Where's the place? You got
They're
to go
playing
to
in Fenway. They're playing in Fenway.
But where are they playing? Are they playing in California? Are they playing? They're playing in California. They'll be in the Angels. You got to get over there. as a Red Sox fan, I would think you'd have to get to see the Red Sox somewhere.
Oh no, I'll fly home before the end of the season. I'll fly home to Boston because what I try to do is I try to kill two birds with one stone, where I'll catch a Sox game and a Patriots game. So I go home in September. You know, I'll try to catch a Sox game and a Pats game, and if I can, a Celtics game. So I try to have like the busiest sports weekend possible. You know, so that way I can wrap everything up. You know, and see it in Gillette Stadium and see it at Fenway Park and the TD Bank North Garden. You know, any way I can go ahead and do that and plan that out. I got to get all the schedules together and kind of see where I'm at.
Well, let's take a look and see where the Red Sox are going to be now. I'm going to go to a couple of Yankee games with my cousins in San Diego. They're big Yankee fans. We're going to go over for a weekend. They already got tickets for us, and we're going to go over and...
You going to bring them on the show?
Who's that?
Your friends, Yankee fan cousins?
Yeah, they're already asking about it.
They can broadcast from outside.
And hopefully... by then, we'll have some phone action going.
Well, yeah, we'll run a line outside if they come in. If they come in with Yankee jerseys on, we'll have to. We can put them on the rooftop. We could have them broadcasted from there, and it'd be nice.
Well, the Red Sox home opener is Monday, and they're playing the Orioles. The surprise Orioles last year, who off to a good start. They're playing 3 with the day off on Monday, and they got quite. Actually, except for 3 games after this weekend, they're home the rest of the month.
Oh, yeah?
The Red Sox, they're home for 3 with the Orioles and Rays, 4 with the Rays, a wraparound series.
Okay.
They go to Cleveland for 3, and they're right back home. Every weekend after this weekend, they're home.
That's good.
With Kansas City, Oakland, and Houston. They finish out a 4-game series hosting the Houston Astros as an American League team.
Right.
And then they go right back to Toronto again.
And you know what I like that? I like the fact that there's no more interleague games. Because, all the other leagues, the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, they don't call their stuff interleague games. It's just games. I like that.
So how odd is that for the Red Sox to go up to Toronto twice in the first month?
It's not that
before
difficult.
Toronto even comes in. And the reason is because of the way they're doing the interleague play.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a wacky schedule. Again, as a reminder, next week I'm going out to the movies on Friday night to preview with my wife 42, the story of Jackie Robinson. And that's going to be pretty much the show next Saturday. We're going to go into a lot of history about why Jackie Robinson was picked among the other Negro players in all the Negro leagues.
Yeah, I want to see that movie.
Yeah, and the history behind that, Negro leagues, and why they waited so long. And it's going to be a great show because it's history. And 1947 was a historic year, and we'll get more into that next week. But until then, be safe and enjoy your baseball team.